4 seconds ago. All right, so welcome to Mr. Cisente's hypothetical reading English teaching class. And today is the last week of our crash course. All right, and we will be going over some comprehension goals today. So you all are young, proud, smart, intelligent, 14, 15, 16 years old, freshman students. All right, however, all right, as you guys progress forward through the rest of your lives and through the rest of your academic careers, you will be faced with reading in all subject areas, all right, as well as comprehending these processes. All right, this is going to be important for tests. These are going to be important for quizzes, essays, for science class, heck, for even math class. Just comprehending certain word questions is a skill that you are going to need. All right, and to do so today, we are going to be doing a reading activity that I will guide you and do a read aloud for you guys. All right, and then we will do some comprehension before and after activities. All right, our goal for today is by the time we're done, all right, on the sheet in front of you, there are 10 different topics. All right, maybe you will not agree correctly, all right, with every topic there, but hopefully after our reading session today, that will improve to about 80 to 90%. As far as our correctness with understanding the main ideas and comprehending them. All right? So, what I would like everybody to do first is take a peek down right at the paper in front of you guys. All right? If you have not already, I want you to take your pencil and please put your name on the top line titled name. All right? So, if you've got your pencil, please put that on the top line titled name. Josh, you got that?
Yeah.
Good job, man. All right. On the next line, you will see the topic that we are going to address today, which is recycling. All right? Now, what is going to happen? I'm going to read each statement below, and on the left column, you are going to respond with whether you agree by putting a capital A or disagree by putting a capital D. All right? Think about why you agree and why you disagree, and also be prepared to share that later on as well. All right? So I'm going to read through each statement. And as I read through it, you're putting a capital A if you agree, or a capital D if you disagree with the statement. All right? Statement number 1. All right? So you're starting off with the first top left box. Capital A if you agree, capital D if you disagree. All right? Statement number 1. Recycling is a process of reusing or recovering materials from waste. If you agree with that, put an A. If you disagree with that, put a D. And that statement was recycling is the process of reusing or recovering materials from waste. Moving on to statement number 2. All right, statement number 2 reads, recycling saves energy and water and other resources. So statement number 2, recycling saves energy, water, as well as other resources. So you put an A for agree or D for disagree. Statement number 3. Making paper from trees is easier than making paper from recycled materials. A for agree or D for disagree. Saying it. We're on number 3 now. Yep. All right. If you missed one of these statements, please read the one you missed and answer A for agree or D for disagree. Please let's make sure we're on the ball for this. It is a very short lesson. Statement number 4. The first step for recycling is to bring these materials to a disposal center. All right, and before you answer for that, I want you to look at number 5 as well. It reads similarly. The first step of recycling is to sort out different materials you wish to recycle. All right, so I want you to put an A for agree next to 4 or 5, whichever you think is the correct first step. All right, and the one you believe is the second step or a later step, put a D next to. So for 4 and 5, you should only have one agreeing mark, and the other one you will put a D for disagree. Statement number 6. The last step to recycling is to sell the remade products to consumers. A for agree or D for disagree. Statement number 7. Paper is the only material that we can recycle. Statement number 8. All right. Perfect. All right. Can consumer demand influence how much recycled products are used? This one is a question. The only question you're going to see. It was a little wordier. All right. Some of the words are a little bit higher level. but can consumer demand influence how much recycled products are actually used? All right? So you're answering all of these on the left side of your paper. Left side of your paper. All right? And we were at number 8 right there. On the left side, number 8, can consumer demand influence how much recycled products are used? All right. Number 9, recycling is good for the environment. And the final statement, number 10, brand new materials are made from recycling. All right. So you either put an agree or disagree next to each statement on the left side of your paper. All right. What I need everybody to do next is take your textbooks and please open them up to page 525. All right. Page 525. So let's get rid of this stuff from the last class from the test. And it's going to be on page 525. All right, good job, guys. We are flying, we're rolling, we're moving. Do I have a marker? All right, in case you forget, all right, it is on page 525. And in case you also forget, there's a video going in the background. We know not to use inappropriate language. It's still going back there.
What did you do?
No one said anything bad. It was just a general warning for everybody. No one would ever say anything bad on Mr. Cisente's rule.
Say.
All right. So
You said 2 curses.
It was
you did that.
No, it was
Yes.
remember? No, it was
Nah, don't
All right.
blame it on me. You got caught.
We are on a timer. All right, we're dialing it back down to page 525. The top of the page is titled Recycling. For this activity, no one will be required to read. I will be doing all of the reading, and throughout my reading, make sure you are listening because I may stop and ask questions, and I'm also going to be going over processes of how I would be thinking as I read in order to make sure I comprehend and understand the text. All right, so starting from the top, recycling. If you need to, I like to do this, and I'd suggest it as well, like we normally do. Use a thing or follow along so you don't lose track as we read. So, starting at the top. In addition to reducing waste, we need to find ways to make the best use of all materials we throw away. All right? So, right off the bat, we haven't talked about recycling at all, but what it's going to be doing is saying that this is our objective, this is what we are trying to do, this is the goal. All right? And recycling is going to be related to our goal. All right? Now, the second sentence, you're going to find recycling in the text. It is bolded, it is highlighted, it is important. Whenever you see words like this, they're going to stand out and be words that you should remember, that you should digest, that you should take in and identify as these are the important things we should start to focus on. All right, and it's going to say, recycling is the process of reusing materials or recovering valuable items from waste or scrap. All right, so right off the bat, we have our definition for recycling. All right, and that matches up with statement number 1 at the top. Recycling is the process of reusing or recovering materials. All right, so if you want to give a quick little check on your guides, all right, if you put A for agree with on number 1, you were 100% correct. All right, as we are going through this, I would suggest waiting until the end to add all your after reading statements. All right, but if something clicks, all right, I'm not going to stop you from filling it out as we move through it, but please, I'd encourage you to wait. All right, continuing on, making products. You wait, Grant? So making products from recycled materials, all right, usually saves energy, water, and other resources. All right, again, that might be something that showed up on your guides. All right, for example, all right, 95% less energy is needed to produce aluminum from recycled than aluminum from an ore. All right, so pop quiz question time. Curlin, is it easier to produce aluminum from recycled aluminum or aluminum ore? Derry, can you help him out? Recycle. And you agree with recycle? Yep, it's actually 95% easier. All right. So if everybody wants to take a quick look up on the board real fast, if you were making aluminum bars to use for processing, all right, if you use the same amount of energy to process ore, all right, if we were processing ore and then you were processing recycled materials and you use the same amount of energy, all right, you could either produce 5 bars of aluminum from the ore or 100 bars of aluminum from the recycled materials. All right, Grant, please wake up. Please, this is the worst possible time for you to go to sleep and make me have to stop and correct you for this. Please and thank you, Grant. All right. So, Grant, which is easier to produce new materials from? Recycled materials or the raw materials? What is it? Say it a little louder. Say it with your chest. Say it like you once played football.
Recycle.
Yeah, that's that football attitude I like. All right, so it's going to be recycled materials. Continuing on with the reading, back into the textbook. About 70% less energy is needed to make paper. 70% less energy. Grant, more or less. What did I say? 70% less energy is needed to make paper from recycled materials from trees. All right, so it does take a lot less energy to make paper from old recycled paper, like the papers you're going to have done and used at the end of your day, than from actual wood and trees. All right, moving on. All right, we're at the red subtitle in our textbook. All right, so this is going to be a subsection. Whenever you get to a subsection, this is usually going to indicate what is the theme, all right, of the next reading section we're going into. All right, so this next part is going to be recycling a series of steps. All right, so we had 3 questions that talked about first step, last step on our guides, so it's going to be important for this. All right, when most people think about recycling, all right, they probably think they probably only think about the first step. All right, bringing their bottles and cans and newspapers to a recycling center or putting these things on the curb. However, shown in figure 12, which is bolded, a series of steps is needed for recycling to work. All right, so if we look down at figure 12 at the bottom of our page where it directs us, what is the first picture you guys see? Can someone raise their hand and tell me? Daniel, what's the first picture of?
Austin Recyclables.
All right, it's a recycling bin, so we are transporting it and getting it to where it needs to be first. All right, so keep that in mind. First step is just moving those goods to the center where they are going to be disposed after. All right, now, first, the discarded materials must be collected. All right, oop, I made a hiccup with that one. All right, so as I read the text, I made an assumption based on the picture before I read, and that is my mistake. But continuing on with the text, first, the discarded materials must be collected and sorted. Then, each type of material then can be taken to the facility where it needs to be cleaned and made ready to use again. All right, so our first step is going to be the sorting process, and then the second step, next step, is going to be the type of material that's going to be taken to the facility where it needs to be. All right. For example, glass is sorted by color and crushed. All right, and paper is sorted by type and made into a pulp with water. All right. Then the materials are used used to manufacture new products. And finally, all right, so I'm going to pause right there. Whenever you see the word finally, what does that represent as far as steps are concerned? Last step. All right, so this is going to be our last step as we're reading. All right, the new products are sold to customers. So that is, in fact, going to be our last step. So when we recycle materials, we want to make new goods, new products, and once they're sold off as their recycled products, all right, that's it. All right, until those products are then restarted their recycling process again. All right, so as we continue, if more people buy products made from these recycled materials, there should be an increase in demand for these products. All right, this demand encourages manufacturers to build facilities to make recycled products. So Callie, question for you. All right? Do you think we would need facilities to make recycled products if no one bought them?
No.
No, we wouldn't need them. So Josh, if no one wanted to buy them and we didn't need to make facilities, would there be a point to recycling at all? Not really. All right? So that goes back to the question you guys saw in your anticipation guide. It's a question that's going to be also in this text as well. All right? Continuing on the last little bit. When such facilities are built, it becomes easier for communities to sell materials that they're collecting from residents and recycling. All right? Now, everybody would take a quick second. At the end of our reading, that was it. There is one question that is a reading check in our text. This is going to be a good judge of what you would have just seen and just read through. All right? And the question is going to read, how can consumer demand influence the packaging of bottled beverages? All right? Would anybody like to take a shot at that question? Go ahead, Darian. No, you volunteered yourself, man.
I'm just saying I agree with it.
You're up, dog. No, I'm going to read the question. How can consumer demand influencing the packaging of bottled beverages? All right? So we're thinking about drinks in bottles. All right? How can consumer demand influence what type of bottles we use? Well, the more we drink, the more bottles we need. All right? But if you were the person making the bottles or you were the person buying the bottles, can you choose to buy one product over the next? Yes. All right? So if everybody in here wanted to buy a product made with recycled products, this would then increase the demand and we need to make more of them. All right? So yes, in fact, consumer influence, consumer demand does influence the products we need. All right? This is a higher level concept and idea related to business and economics. It's a little bit above general environmental science, but it's a good exposure to see this now. All right? So what I want everybody to do real fast, one more time now, we are going to look at our lists again. What you need? What you need? Yeah, good. All right, so everybody's got our list in front of us right now. It is the same set of 10 statements. What I want you to go back through, read to yourself silently, all right? The 10 statements, and on the right side, you are going to, again, put either an agree or disagree for each of those statements. All right? You might find that some of your answers and opinions change, but you are going through now on the right side, and you are giving an agree or disagree, all right, for each one of those statements. All right? An agree or disagree for each one of those statements. All right? So please make sure you handle that. And I'm going to come around and make sure you guys are moving along. If you have any problems or you don't understand the statement when you read it yourself, all right, please raise your hand and let me know. All right? You can use the text that we just read through, that I just read through for you guys, to help you reference and answer some of these. Once you have answered all 10 of those statements, all right, we are going to move on and you're going to flip the page over for our conclusion activity. All right, once you have, right back to these statements. All right, if you're feeling a little sluggish right now, all right, instead of working by yourself, read through the statements with the person next to you. Josh, Callie, all right, Curlin, if you need to read it with Zay, you can read it with her. All right, if you need to read through the statements with the person next to you, you can both talk about them and discuss them. All right. So Josh, you're going to read each statement, and then this is a post-reading. We read through this and we listened. We learned some new stuff, and you're going to put agree or disagree, just like you did over there. All right. I'm going to give you guys the next 2 minutes, all right, to go through and put agree or disagree. All right. Yeah, let Jonas in. Okay, thank you very much. Jonas, what's up? Go ahead. Come back. I don't know how to check how we are on time. If that video stops, I'm going to cry.
No, it didn't stop, I don't think.
We got to hurry up. We're running out of time. We're running out of time. All right.
I'm sorry.
No more so than y'all, I'm sure. All right.
What? Nah, if anything, it's so.
All right. So, what I need everybody to do now, all right, the reading took a little bit long. All right, there were a lot of delays. Some people were sleeping and it took a little bit of extra time, all right, off our lesson to get through that. All right, but I would like everybody to flip their paper over, and what you guys are tasked with doing as a conclusion activity, I would like you to use the space on the back side of your paper to write me 3 to 4 sentences. All right, these sentences are all going to be about comprehending what we just read and processed. So these sentences can either be about what you learned about recycling today. You can give me specific facts, main ideas, or if you just want to tell me about the process of recycling as you understand it, all right, you can then write that as well. All right, once you finish, I'm going to collect them all in just a minute. All right, once you finish, I want you to look at your neighbor. If they seem stuck, I want you to talk to them about what you learned about recycling to help kickstart their writing process. But all you guys need to do is write 3 to 4 sentences. Please make sure they are complete. You are capitalizing, adding punctuation. Oh no. All right. Good job, Track. Alright, I really appreciate everybody and your effort today, guys. You guys have been fantastic for the most part. Alright, those of you that were not super sleepy the entire time, only once the lesson started.
Yeah, for real. As soon as the lenses got you in the
Alright. But with that said, as you wrap up your written summaries and your main ideas, I just wanted to say congratulations, good job. Alright, the next thing we're going to focus on when it comes to this material, alright, is going to be the impact of humans on land in general. So we've talked about how humans can reuse resources. Next class, we are going to talk about the impacts on land. Darian, what are we talking about?
The impacts of land.
Absolutely. And with that said, we are done.